buttons have been pressed. Lives have been reached, maybe. I'm probably live, I think. Hello, hello. It says I'm live. Oh, I've got the notification. I'm live. Hello. How are you? I see somebody already named Frosty's in the chat. I've never seen you before. Hi. How are you? And Sunny42. That's 2 new people. Hello. How are you both? Tem plays. Came because of Percy Jackson. I mean, that is like the main reason why we're here. Alexandria Alonso. Hello. Stars for Life. Hi. Oh my gosh. There are so many new people. Oh dear God. I am overwhelmed. Hello. I have returned. There's somebody I recognize. Vincent Muir. Aiden Sebela. Hello. You could call me Plays or Temp. Will do. I really love the books. I mean, that is why we're here. To read some more Percy Jackson. If you notice, the thumbnail says 3 to 7 and the title says 4 to 7. That's because I was too lazy to change the thumbnail afterwards when I realized I was wrong. It's Bonnie Faye. Hi there. Hello, every new person. Jesus Christ, there are so many of you. Oh wow, it's kind of a little bit overwhelming, but we'll manage. It'll be fine. Alright. But yeah, we're here to read some more Percy Jackson. Probably gonna stop after chapter 7 because I read a little bit faster than I would normally, just to kind of keep. We don't speak of the movies. The books are better. Listen, for the longest time, my only knowledge of Percy Jackson was the movies. Okay, so I will continue to love the movies until I finish the books. Otherwise, okay, you can call me daddy. I won't. Thanks for the options though, but it's not happening. We can wait for him to meet Leo. I don't know who that is, but I don't want to know. I'll wait for the book. I'll wait for the books. I watched the movie before I read the books. Yo, same. But all right, we're 7 because I was told to read up to 7 and then consider if I wanted to keep going. Now, if it's really freaking strong, I'm just gonna keep going and like do other read streams and then finish the whole series. However, I do have to let you know right now, I'm kind of thinking about just stopping after chapter 7 and then like waiting until the series comes out, reading the books, like reading the first book and then reading all the books afterwards. Like I'm definitely gonna read all the books, but right now I'm thinking about how do I want to do this. I don't know, but that's what we're gonna figure out today. If chapter 7 is an absolute banger, then I'll just have to continue. I can't be left on a cliffhanger for 2 months. It's just not gonna happen. I'm just not okay with it. The books are my childhood. I can't even imagine a reality where I love the movies. Listen. Okay, you got to admit though, the poker face scene. You have to love the poker face scene, right? Everybody has to like the poker face scene. I feel like that's a universal thing. Like the poker face scene is just good. It's just good movie making. Would have been great if it was just a standalone or not a bad attempt at an adaptation. Yeah, it's fair. I think the ones that did the second one, they kind of sealed themselves in the shitter, from what I hear. But that's my favorite scene in the movie. It is the best scene in the movie. The poker face scene is so good. It's so good. It's goated. I never saw the movies, couldn't bring myself to. Treat yourself to the poker face scene and nothing else. 1 second. Let me grab the book from all the way over here. I have it. Jesus Christ. Yeah, okay. I don't know what you said. I didn't read it before you deleted it, but it's fine, I guess. Alright. Pre-stream business. Pre-read thoughts. What? Alright, I'm guessing. Should I look at the chapter names? Actually, I won't look at the chapter names. I'll wait till I get there. Goated like Rover? Haha! Because he's a goat. Funny joke. The movies are fine as a standalone. Yeah, they're full of common tropes. It should not have been a Percy Jackson adaptation. Yeah, like when I went back and I rewatched them, I was like, this doesn't feel like a fantasy world. It feels like something Michael Bay would direct. But yeah, I like the Medusa scene or the Minotaur scene the most. So what do you think of it so far? The books, I'm really liking. I'm really liking. A lot of this stuff is just like more information of stuff that I've seen before, except for chapter 2. Chapter 2 wasn't in the movies at all, So I really, really liked chapter 2. It was like some interesting lore and some interesting world building, and that is my favorite chapter so far. But I think it's solid. I'm really enjoying it. But like I said, I'm gonna slow down reading it this time just because I read a little bit too fast. So I want to slow down a bit. Me grabbing my book. Yes, feel free to read along with me in my shitty audiobook version of this. that you'll be inevitably joining. But yeah, I'm gonna guess. I'm thinking, from what I vaguely remember, that we're gonna end off on the what the hell is it? The capture the flag bit. That's what I'm thinking. If I'm right, don't tell me. If I'm wrong, don't tell me. That's what I'm thinking, though. My friend said she was gonna read the Percy Jackson series out of order, and I was like, why would you do that? People who do that are so stupid. I hate them. I hate them so much. Got my book ready. Are we doing a read along? Braylon Hargrenick. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. What do you think about it? Like I said, I thought the first 4 chapters are really good. Some stuff that I've seen before. Mostly, it's just a elongated version of what I know really well from the movies. And chapter 2 was my favorite so far, just because it's something new and something really interesting about the world that I hadn't yet seen. So I think that's pretty cool. Read along time. Yes. Hello, Frosty. Hello. Yes, let's read along. I don't know how long I should talk for before it gets annoying. She was gonna read it just to make me feel like something, don't know how to describe it. Just to piss you off, probably. I know. Listen, I'm not gonna pretend like I'm not that kind of friend, because I am. But if I'm gonna watch something, I'm gonna watch it in order. I'll read it in order. I hate reading stuff or watching stuff out of order. Lava Girl 05. So many new people. Jesus Christ. I gave the first book to my friend because they said they were interested. Like 8 months later, they hadn't touched it. Yeah, that is most people. Most people think they read books, and they don't. I will proudly say that I don't read books, but I'm trying to read more. So we'll see. Alright. I don't want to talk for too long. Let me get a swig of water, and then we're going to start chapter... Why do I have this at... Okay, yeah. Brain. Then let me get a swig of water, and then we're going to start chapter 5. Dang. I probably should have put chapter 5 to 7. But, you know, I'm not good at math. That's why I'm not in school anymore. Thank God for that. That's what we're going to do. The power of editing the title. I can just say 5 to 7. Woke up at 9 a.m. for this? Man, that's so sweet, but I don't know if you should have done that. Sleep is important, and I am not good enough to be missing sleep over, my guy. My friend is really cool. She just makes jokes like that sometimes. I do the same thing. Who's your godly parent? Me? My godly parent? Does he have to be one of the Greek gods? Because if he is, listen, because of the movies, I've always been partial to Poseidon as well. But I don't know a whole lot about the Greek gods. From what I do know, I still think Poseidon is the coolest. So yeah, why did Luffy let that dirty fishman on his crew? Shut the fuck up. Jinbei's great. For anybody who doesn't know what he's talking about, it's One Piece. Go read One Piece. It's the greatest story ever told. Alright. Mine is Apollo according to a test. A BuzzFeed quiz. You'll love to see it. For me, Hermes. I like Hermes. I think Hermes is pretty cool. Doesn't Hermes have like a lot of sex? I heard that from somewhere. I don't know where I heard that from. I'm using my drawing of an Egyptian god as a bookmark for my person. That's really freaking cool, actually. I forgot Egyptian gods were a thing. God, there's so many more freaking mythologies. I feel like I'd be a Hermes or a Hypnos kid though. Okay, all right. It's cool. I'm sorry. I don't want to be like I don't care. But I said we were gonna read. That's what we're about to start doing. Okay. Alright, so chapter 5, I play Pinnacle with a horse. I don't know what Pinnacle is, and I don't know what this horse is he's talking about, but I'm excited to find out. Okay. I had a weird dream full of It's the first sentence. Don't fuck up this early. I had weird dreams full of barnyard animals. Most of them wanted to kill me. The rest wanted food. I must have woken up several times, but what I heard and saw made no sense, so I just passed out again. I remembered lying in a soft bed, being spoon-fed something that tasted like buttered popcorn, only it was pudding. The girl with the curly blonde hair hovered over me, smirking as she scraped drips off my chin with a spoon. When she saw my eyes open, she asked, "What will happen at the summer solstice?" I managed to croak, "What?" She looked around as if afraid. Someone would someone overhear me. What's going on? What was stolen? We've only got a few weeks. I'm sorry, I mumbled. I don't... Somebody knocked on the door, and the girl quickly filled my mouth with pudding. That sounds gross. The next time I woke up, the girl was gone. A husky, blonde dude, like a surfer, stood in the corner of the bedroom, keeping watch over me. He had blue eyes, at least a dozen of them on his cheek. His forehead... on his cheek and his forehead, the backs of his hands. That's where the dots are, I guess. I'm really bad at reading books. Sorry about that. The music is too loud? Okay, give me a second. My bad. Let me turn this down. Turn it down to like 5. Alright, is that better? Let me know if the music's still too loud. When I finally came around for good, there was nothing weird about my surroundings, except that they were nicer than I was used to. I was sitting in a deck chair on a huge porch, gazing across a meadow at the green hills in the distance. The breeze smelled like strawberries. There was a blanket over my legs, a pillow behind my neck. All that was great, but my mouth felt like a scorpion had been using it for a nest. My tongue was dry and nasty, and every one of my teeth hurt. On the table next to me was a tall drink. It looked like iced apple juice with a green straw and a paper parasol stuck through maraschino straw. Fucking hell. Read words. What the hell is that? Maraschino cherry. There we go. I still don't know what that is, but going on. My hand was so weak, I almost dropped the glass once. I almost dropped the glass once I got my fingers around it. Careful, a familiar voice said. Grover was leaning against the porch railing, looking like he hadn't slept in a week. Under one arm, he cradled his shoebox. He was wearing blue jeans, Converse high tops, and a bright orange t-shirt that said, Camp Half-Blood. Just plain old Grover, not the goat boy. So maybe I had a nightmare. Maybe my mom was okay. We were still on vacation. We'd stopped here at this big house for some reason, and you saved my life, Grover said. Well, the least I could do. I went back to the hill. I thought you might want this. Reverently, he placed the shoebox in my lap. Inside was a black and white bull's horn, the base jagged from being broken off, the tip splattered with dried blood. It hadn't been a nightmare. Very sad. Scorpion. Did I say scorpion? I probably said scorpion somewhere. Look, listen. I don't read regular books, okay? I want to make that so clear. I'm bad at reading regular books. I'm trying to get better. Okay. Listen, Mattson, I'm going to ignore your racist fishman comments because you're flat out wrong and they're beautiful creatures, okay? You're just wrong. They're amazing. The Minotaur, I said. Percy, it isn't a good idea. That's why they call him that's what they call him in Greek myths, isn't it? I demanded, the Minotaur, half man, half bull. Grover shifted uncomfortably. You've been out for 2 days. How much do you remember? My mom. Is she really? He looked down. I stared across the meadow. There were groves of trees, a winding stream, acres of strawberries spread out under the blue sky. The valley was surrounded by rolling hills, and the tallest one, directly in front of us, was the one with the huge pine tree on top. Even that looked beautiful in the sunlight. My mother was gone. The whole world should be black and cold. Nothing should look beautiful. I'm sorry, Grover sniffled. I'm a failure. I'm the worst satyr in the world. Got that right. You suck at being a protector. Fucking trash. He moaned, stomping his foot so hard it came off. I mean, the Converse high top came off. The inside was filled with styrofoam, except for a half-shaped hole. Oh, sticks! He mumbled. Oh, is that what they curse like in Camp Half-Blood? Thunder rolled across the clear sky. As he struggled to get his hoof back in the fake foot, I thought, well, that settles it. Grover was a satyr. I was ready to bet that if I shaved his curly brown hair, I'd find tiny horns on his head. But I was too miserable to care that satyrs existed, or even minotaurs. I mean, fair enough, I guess. Stop being mean to Grover? No! I will not! Get better. Stop sucking at being a protector. Fucking trash. Okay, well, this is unacceptable. Okay. Bro, you have 16 watching? I know, it's so weird that 16 people are here. If you are here, thank you. I appreciate you. It doesn't make it any less weird, though. I'm just a weird guy. Stop. Grover is great. We'll see. Just you wait for book 4, though? Takes 4 books for Grover to get good? This is so sad. No, I'm kidding. I'm gonna overly hate on Grover just because it's funny, but he has a heart, not to me. Not to me. He's just a little goat boy, just a little silly goat boy. All that meant was my mom really had been squeezed into nothingness, dissolved into yellow light. I was alone, an orphan. I would have to live with smelly Gabe. No, that would never happen. I would live on the streets first. I would pretend I was 17 and join the army. I'd do something. I don't think that's 5 years difference. That's 5 years difference, Percy. Grover was still sniffling. The poor kid. Poor goat. Satyr, whatever. I looked as if he expected to be hit. I said, it wasn't your fault. Yes, it was. I was supposed to protect you. Facts. Try harder next time. Did my mom ask you to protect me? No, but that's my job. I'm a keeper. At least, I was. But why? I suddenly felt dizzy. My vision's swimming. Don't strain yourself, Grover said. Here. He helped me hold my glass and put the straw to my lips. I recoiled at the taste because I was expecting apple juice. It wasn't that at all. It was chocolate chip cookies. What? Liquid cookies? I don't know if I would like that. Not just any cookies. My mom's homemade blue chocolate chip cookies. Buttery and hot, with the chips still melting. Drinking it, my whole body felt warm and good, full of energy. Why would you put cookies in a drink? I just don't think that's a good idea, personally. I just wouldn't do that if it were me. Waited till you learn about his real age. What? What? Don't tell me. Don't tell me anymore. I don't want to hear it. Anybody who has a tree as their profile picture is a walking red flag. What are you talking about? What, is that just a random thought that you had? I really hope you're not insulting somebody in this chat. One of these lovely, beautiful Percy Jackson fans. Anyways. Of course I lost my page. Where the hell was I? Yes, blue cookies in a drink. My grief didn't go away, but I felt as if my mom had just brushed her hand against my cheek, giving me a cookie the way she used to when I was small, and told me everything was going to be okay. Before I knew it, I drained the glass. I stared into it. Sure, I just had a warm drink, but the ice cubes hadn't even melted. Was it good? Grover asked. I nodded. What did it taste like? He sounded so wistful. I felt guilty. Sorry, I said. I should have let you taste it. His eyes got wide. No, that's not what I meant. I just wondered. Chocolate chip cookies? I said. My mom's homemade? He sighed. And how do you feel? Like I could throw Nancy Rowe at 100 yards. Let's go. That's good, he said. That's good. I don't think you could risk drinking any more of that stuff. What do you mean? He took the empty glass from me gingerly, as if it were dynamite, and set it back on the table. Come on, Kyron and Mr. D are waiting. Oh, it's time to meet the people. The dudes. The ones from the movies. The ones that the books are based on. The movies the books are based on. The porch wrapped all around the farmhouse. My legs felt wobbly trying to walk that far. Grover offered to carry the Minotaur horn, but I held onto it. I paid for the souvenir the hard way. I wasn't going to let it go. As we came around the opposite end of the house, I caught my breath. We must have been on the north side of Long Island, because on this side of the house, the valley marched all the way out to the river, which glowed about a mile in the distance. Between here and there, I simply couldn't process everything I was seeing. The landscape was dotted with buildings that looked like ancient Greek architecture, an open-air pavilion, an amphitheater, a circular arena, except that they all looked brand new, their white marble columns sparkling in the sun. In a nearby sandpit, a dozen high school-aged kids and satyrs played volleyball. Canoes glided across a small lake. Kids in bright orange t-shirts like Grover's were chasing each other around a cluster of cabins nestled in the woods. Some shot targets at an archery range. Others rode Some shot targets at an archery range. Okay, that sentence made more sense. Others rode horses down a wooded trail, and unless I was hallucinating, some of their horses had wings. What? We have Pegasuses up in this bitch? Let's go, Pegasuses, Pegasus, whatever the plural was. Down at the end of the porch, two men sat across from each other at a card table. The blonde-haired girl who'd spoon-fed me popcorn-flavored pudding was leaning on the porch rail next to me. The man facing me was small, but porky. He had a red nose, big watery eyes, and curly hair so black it was almost purple. He looked like those paintings of baby angels. What do you call them? Hubbubs? No, cherubs. That's it. He looked like a cherub who turned middle-aged in a trailer park. He wore a tiger pattern Hawaiian shirt, and he would have fit right in at one of Gabe's poker parties. Except I got the feeling that this guy could have out-gambled even my stepfather. That's Mr. D. He's a baby angel? Is that Mr. D? Mr. D's baby angel? Go remember to me. He's the camp director. Be polite. The girl? That's Annabeth Chase. She's just a camper. But she's here longer than just about anybody. And you already know Kyron. He pointed at the guy whose back was to me. First, I realized he was sitting in the wheelchair. Then, I recognized the tweed jacket, the thinning brown hair, the scraggly beard. Mr. Bruner, let's go! I like Aunt Jemima, don't we all? Rainbow Dash? What do you mean Rainbow Dash? This is not My Little Pony crossover. The One Piece is real. Hear me out. A One Piece Percy Jackson crossover? Would that be cool? Would that be a cool thing? I don't know if that would work. I don't know enough about Percy Jackson to feel like if that would work. Now, if we added Greek gods into One Piece, I feel like that'd be pretty cool, though. I feel like that'd be awesome. I wonder if there's a gun class in the camp. The Americans would be all over that. They would be. Yo, Greek guns? That'd be fire. Yes, I think he means the maple syrup stars. I think it's what he's talking about. Don't worry about that. Matson just says random stuff, Howie. I'm not gonna lie to you. Where was I? Okay. The Latin teacher turned and smiled at me. His eyes had the mischievous glint that they sometimes got in class when he pulled a pop quiz and made all the multiple choice answers. Made all the multiple choice answers B. Ah, good, Percy, he said. Now we have 4 for Pinnacle. What is that? What even is that? He offered me a chair to the right of Mr. D, who looked at me with bloodshot eyes and heaved a great sigh. Oh, I suppose I must say it. Welcome to Camp Half-Blood. There. Now don't expect me to be glad to see you. Oh, is Mr. B a dick? Is he an asshole? Thanks. I scooted a little farther away from him because if there was one thing I had learned from living with Gabe, it was how to tell when an adult has been hitting the happy juice. If Mr. D was a stranger to alcohol, I was a satyr. Annabeth, Mr. Bruner called to the blonde girl. She came forward and Mr. Bruner introduced us. This young lady nursed you back to health, Percy. Aw, that's so sweet. Annabeth, my dear, why don't you go check on Percy's bunk? We'll be putting him in the cabin for 11 for now. Annabeth said, sure, Kyron. She was probably my age, maybe a couple of inches taller, and a whole lot more athletic looking. With her deep tan and her curly blonde hair. I think you mean black hair, because she's black, obviously from the trailers. She was almost exactly what I thought. A stereotypical girl would look like, except her eyes ruined the image. They were startling. Hold on. Next page. Startling gray. Like storm clouds. Pretty but intimidating too. As if she was analyzing the best way to take me down in a fight. She glanced at the Minotaur horn in my hands, then back at me. I imagined she was going to say, you killed a Minotaur? Or, wow, you're so awesome! Something like that. Instead she said, you drool when you sleep. Then she sprinted off down the lawn, her blonde hair flying behind her. So I said, anxious to change the subject, you, work here, Mr. Bruner? Not Mr. Bruner. The ex-Mr. Bruner said. I'm afraid that was a pseudonym. You may call me Kyron. If I had not seen the movies, and I had read this for the first time, I'd be reading this as Chiron. But thank God. It's an old man game. Pinnacle, interesting. And yes, Mr. D is one. Love that. Love asshole characters. The best line? You drool when you sleep, is it? Dang. Her book version is blonde. You know, I know that, but listen. She's black, alright? She's black with black hair. The books, nobody cares about books. The movies tell the truth. Just look at the Percy Jackson movie. Completely accurate. Book, not so much. That's a joke, by the way. Anyways. Where the hell was I? Okay, totally confused. I looked at the director and Mr. D. Does that stand for something? Mr. D stopped shuffling the cards. He looked at me like I just belched loudly. Young man, names are a powerful thing. You don't just go around using them for no reason. Oh, right, sorry. I must say, Percy, Kyron Bruner broke in. I'm glad to see you alive. It's been a long time since I've made a house call to a potential camper. I hate to think I've wasted my time. House call? My year in Nancy Academy to instruct you. You have satyrs at most schools, of course, keeping a lookout, but Grover alerted me as soon as he met you. He sensed you were something special, so I decided to come upstate. Wait, so is my theory correct about Grover? Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. The books are not accurate to the book. That is exactly what I've just said. It's a fact. You can quote me on that. But is my theory correct? Don't tell me if it's correct, by the way. I'm just talking aloud to myself. Is my theory correct that Grover has been, like, helping people for a while and he's let other kids die? That's my thought. Perfect logic. Exactly. Thank you. Impeccable science, if I just say so. He sensed you were something special, so I decided to come upstate. I convinced the other Latin teacher to take a leave of absence. I don't know. It sounds like you killed them. I tried to remember the beginning of the school year. It seemed like so long ago, but I did have a fuzzy memory of there being another Latin teacher my first week at Yancey. Then without explanation, he had disappeared and Mr. Bruder had taken the class. You came to Nancy just to teach me? I asked. Kyron nodded. Honestly, I wasn't sure about you at first. We contacted your mother, let her know we were keeping an eye on you in case you were ready for Camp Half-Blood. But you still had so much to learn. Nevertheless, you made it here alive. And that's always the first test. Ah, damn. I guess a lot of people don't pass that test, apparently. What's it? Where the... Come on. Where... Books? Okay, there we go. Grover, Mr. D said impatiently. Are you playing or not? Yes, sir, Grover trembled as he took the fourth chair. Though I didn't know why he should be so afraid of pudgy little man in a tiger print Hawaiian shirt. You don't know how to play Pinnacle, Mr. D eyed me suspiciously. I'm afraid not, I said. Yo, same. I'm afraid not, sir. I'm afraid not, sir, he said. Sir, I repeated. I was liking the camp director less and less. Well, he told me, it is along with gladiator fighting and Pac-Man, one of the greatest games ever invented. Let's go. Pac-Man representation. But by humans. I would expect all civilized young men to know the rules. Maybe not. Well, you'll see. We'll see. We shall see. Pronounced P-knuckle? I think. Since you think, I'm just gonna keep saying it my way until you know. I'm sorry. Is it actually Pinnacle or Pineapple? I don't know. It reads like Pineapple, so we'll see, I guess. I'm sure the boy can learn, Kyron said. Please, I said. What is this place? What am I doing here? Yeah, the real questions. Kyron, why would you go to Yancey Academy just to teach me? Mr. D snorted. I asked the same question. The camp director dealt the cards. Grover flinched every time one landed in his pile. Kyron smiled at me sympathetically, the way he used to in Latin class, as if to let me know that no matter what my average was, I was his star student. He expected me to have the right answer. Percy said. Did you tell your mother... Did your mother tell you nothing? She said... I remember her sad eyes, looking out over the sea. She told me she was afraid to send me here, even though my father had wanted her to. She said that once I was here, I probably couldn't leave. She wanted to keep me close to her. Typical, Mr. D said. It's how they usually get killed. What? Young man, are you bidding or not? What? I asked. He explained impatiently. How you bid in Pinnacle? He basically explained how you bid in Pinnacle, and so I did. Dang, I thought I was going to learn from this book. Apparently not. Apparently we just get useless information about the gods and whatnot. Is my thing not? Okay. P-knuckle. My way or the highway? Is it? It's P-knuckle? Okay, I'm just gonna say P-knuckle, even that sounds really gross, but alright. I keep losing my place. Okay. I'm afraid there's too much to tell, Kyron said. I'm afraid our usual orientation won't be sufficient. Orientation film, I asked. I don't want to see this. No, Kyron decided. Well, Percy, you know your friend Grover is a satyr. You know, he pointed to the horn in the shoebox that you have killed the Minotaur. No small feat either, lad. What you may not know is that great powers are at work in your life. Gods, the forces you call the Greek gods, are very much alive. I stared at the others around the table. I waited for somebody to yell. Not, but all I got was Mr. D yelling, Oh, a royal marriage! Trick. He cackled as he tallied up his points. Mr. D, Grover asked timidly, You're not going to eat it. Could I have your Diet Coke can? Oh, alright. Do other people eat cans or just him? Alright. Grover bit a huge shard out of the empty aluminum can and chewed it mournfully. Wait, I told Chiron. You're telling me there's such a thing as God? Well, now, Chiron said. God, capital G? What? God, capital G, God. That's a different matter altogether. We shan't deal with the metaphysical. Metaphysical? We were just talking about gods, plural. As in great beings that control the forces of nature and human endeavors. The immortal gods of Olympus? That's a smaller matter. Smaller? Yeah, I'm with you. What do you mean smaller? Yes, quite. The gods we discussed in Latin class. Zeus, I said. Hera, Apollo. I said, Hera, Apollo? You mean them? And there it was again. Just thunder on a cloudless day. Young man, said Mr. D, I would really be less casual about throwing those names around. And if I were you... But they're stories, I said. They're myths to explain lightning and the seasons and stuff. That's what people believed before there was science. Very true. There is canonically only one person who has watched the orientation film. What? Then why did he even suggest it? If only one person... What? Stupid. Stupid. I want to watch the film. I want to see it. If Mr. D has sex with somebody, is it normal or are they a zoophile? I feel like it's the same as... Look, that was my question for, like, anybody, like a regular woman who had sex with a satyr. But that's not for me to answer. He eats cans because he's a goat. Bro speed ran every Greek hero's biggest feats. All satyrs do. Wait, is Mr. D a satyr? Did I miss that? No, nobody else had... Yeah, I've heard a lot about this Nico, just by name. I don't know anything about him. But apparently a lot of people like him as a character. So there's that. Freaking out. Okay, here we go. Science, Mr. D scoffed. And tell me, Perseus Jackson. I flinched when he said my real name, which I had never told anybody. What will people think of your science 2,000 years from now? Mr. D continued. They will call it primitive mumbo jumbo. That's what. Oh, I love mortals. They have absolutely no sense of perspective. They think they've come so far. And have they, Chiron? Look at this boy and tell me. I already like Mr. D already. I know he's supposed to be an asshole, but I already like him a lot. I wasn't liking Mr. D much, but there was something about the way he called me immortal, as if he wasn't. It was enough to put a lump in my throat. Suggest Ragover was dutifully minding his cards, chewing his soda can, and keeping his mouth shut. Percy, Chiron said, you may choose to believe or not, but the fact is that... Sorry. Stream burp. It happens all the goddamn time. I hate it, but sorry. The fact is that immortal means immortal. Can you imagine that for a moment? Never dying, never fading, existing just as you are for all of time? That sounds absolutely terrible. But consider the Lotus Casino. I only know about the Lotus Casino in the movies. I gotta go. Alright, see ya, Madsen. Thanks for joining the stream, man. My friend asked me where I got it from. When I told her it was Nico, she said, never mind. Alright. Yeah, later, Madsen. Thanks for joining, bro. Listen, I'm so lost whenever people mention, like, future Percy Jacks. I'm sure I'll think back to this, like, 5 books from now. I don't know exactly what you're talking about, but right now, over my head. Completely. Not even anywhere near it. I was about to answer off the top of my head that it sounded like a pretty good deal, but the tone of Chiron's voice made me hesitate. You mean, whether people believed in you or not, I said. Exactly, Chiron agreed. If you were a god, how would you like being called a myth? An old story to explain lightning. What if I told you, what if I told you, Perseus Jackson, that someday people would call you a myth? Just created to explain how little boys can get over losing their mothers. Damn. That's a pretty deep line. My heart pounded. He was trying to make me angry for some reason, but I wasn't going to let him. I said I wouldn't like it, but I don't believe in gods. Oh, you'd better, Mr. D murmured, before one of them incinerates you. Grover said, please, sir. He just lost his mother. He's in shock. A lucky thing, too. Wow. Mr. D grumbled, playing a card. Bad enough I'm confined to this miserable job, working with boys who don't even believe. Oh, this is more than just him. He waved his hand, and a goblet appeared on the table, as if the sunlight had bent momentarily and woven the air into glass. The goblet filled itself with red wine. Whoa. Wait, okay. My jaw dropped, but Chiron hardly looked up. Mr. D, he warned, your restrictions. Mr. D looked at the wine in feigned surprise. Dear me, he looked at the sky and yelled, old habits, sorry. More thunder. Mr. D waved his hand, and the wine glass changed to a fresh can of Diet Coke. Interesting. He sighed unhappily, popped the top of the soda can, and went back to his card game. Chiron winked at me. Mr. D offended his father a while back. Took a fancy to a wood nymph who had been declared off limits. A wood nymph? I repeated, still staring at the Diet Coke can like it was from outer space. Yes, Mr. D confessed. Father loves to punish me. The first time prohibition. Ghastly, absolutely horrid. 10 years. Did I just rip my book page? No, this is so sad. I hate when this happens. That's why I never read books, because I would read the pages. This is probably the worst book out of the 5, you think? It has the coolest title, I think. I don't know, obviously I have no opinion, I haven't read them. No, book 2 for me? Interesting. I think this book is the coolest title. Is our collective fandom joke from book 3? Am I remembering it right? I don't know. You know what? For the sake of this conversation, yes. Yes, it is. You're remembering that completely right. Me, who has no idea what you're talking about. The second time, well, she was really pretty, and I couldn't stay away. The second time, he sent me here. Oh, that's why he's here. I was wondering why he was here. If he seemed like he didn't like me here. Summer camp for brats like you. Be a better influence, he told me. Work with your youths rather than tearing them down. Huh, absolutely unfair. You sound like a little bit of a bitch, Mr. D. A little bit of a bitch brat yourself. Mr. D sounded about 6 years old. Like I'm saying, bro. Like a pouting middle kid. Me and Percy, we're on that Wi-Fi. We're on that same wavelength. Right before I say something, Percy says the same thing. And I stammered. Your father is Immortalis Chiron? What? I don't know. Mr. D said, I thought you taught this boy the basics. My father is Zeus, of course. Ah. I ran through D names from Greek mythology. Wine, the skin of a tiger, the satyrs that all seem to work here. The way Grover cringed as if Mr. D were his master. You're Dionysus? I said. The god of wine? That's a pretty lame thing to be the god of. I'm not gonna lie. I don't... Sure you can... D Immortals? Is this like the D joke from One Piece? I'm so confused. When he gets to the damn third book, you get... I guess. I don't know what this damn joke is, I guess. I don't know. I saw a lot of that in the comments, too. I was like, dang, a lot of people don't know how to spell damn. That's a lame thing to be a god of. Mr. D rolled his eyes. What do they say these days, Grover? Do the children say, well, duh? Yes, Mr. D. Then, well, duh, Percy Jackson. Do you think I was Aphrodite, perhaps? You're a god? Yes, child. A god? You? He turned to look at me straight on, and I saw a kind of purplish fire in his eyes. A hint that this whiny, plump, little man was only showing me the tiniest bit of his true nature. I saw visions of grapevines choking unbelievers to death, drunken warriors insane with battle lust, sailors screaming as their hands turned to clippers, their faces elongating into dolphin snouts. I knew that if I pushed him, Mr. D would show me worse things. He would plant a disease in my brain that would leave me wearing a straitjacket in a rubber room for the rest of my life. Would you like to test me, child? He said quietly. No, sir. The fire died a little, turned back to his card game. I believe I win. Not quite, Mr. D, Chiron said. He set down a straight tally, tallied the points and said, the game goes to me. I thought Mr. D was going to vaporize Chiron right out of his wheelchair. But he just sighed through his nose, as if he were used to being beaten by the Latin teacher. He got up, and Grover rose too. I'm tired, Mr. D said. I believe I'll take a nap before the sing-along tonight. But first, Grover, we need to talk. Again, about your less than perfect performance on this assignment. Grover's face beaded with sweat. Yes, sir. Mr. Dean turned to me. Cabin 11, Percy Jackson, and mind your manners. He slipped into the farmhouse, Gover following miserably. Will Gover be okay? I asked Chiron. Chiron nodded, though he looked a bit troubled. Old Dionysus isn't really mad. He just hates his job. He's been grounded, I guess you would say. And he can't stand waiting another century before he's ought to go back to Olympus. Oh, he has to wait 100 years? That's so funny. Also, why will nobody explain anything to my boy? That's so rude. All he has is questions, and all you guys just keep giving him are just weird, vague answers. God of wine, parties, and madness. That's still... Madness is the only cool thing to be a god of. God of wine is pretty lame, I'm not gonna lie. Actually, God of parties is pretty cool, I guess. Mount Olympus, I said. Doesn't mean there really is a place? Well, of course. Duh. Well, now there's Mount Olympus in... Well, now, there's Mount Olympus in Greece. And there's the home of the gods, the convergence point of their powers, which did indeed used to be on Mount Olympus. It's still called Mount Olympus out of respect to the old ways, but the palace moves. Percy, just as the gods do. You mean the Greek gods are here? Like, in America? Well, certainly. The gods move with the heart of the West. The what? Come now, Percy. What you call Western civilization, do you think it's just an abstract concept? No, it's a living force. A collective consciousness that just burned bright for thousands of years. The gods are part of it. You must even say that they are the source of it, or at least they are tied so tightly to that they couldn't possibly fade, unless all Western civilization were obliterated. The fire started in Greece. Then, as you well know, or as I hope you know, since you passed my course, the heart of the fire moved to Rome, and so did the gods. Oh, different names, perhaps? Jupiter or Zeus, Venus for Aphrodite, and so on. But the same forces, the same gods. And they died? Died? No. Did the West die? The gods simply moved to Germany, to France, to Spain for a while. Wherever the flame was brightest, the gods were there. They spent several centuries in England. All you need to do is look at the architecture. People do not forget the gods. Every place they've ruled for the last 3,000 years, you can see them in the paintings and statues on the most important buildings. And yes, Percy, of course, they are now the United States. Look at your symbol, the eagle of Zeus. Look at the statue of Prometheus in the Rockefeller Center. The Greek facades of your government buildings in Washington. I defy you to find any American city where the Olympians are not prominently displayed in multiple places. Like it or not, and believe me, plenty of people weren't very fond of Rome either. America is now the heart of the flame. It is the great power of the West. And so Olympus is here, and we are here. That's really cool. That is really cool world building. I like that a lot. That is like probably like the best exposition dump we've gotten so far in the book. That's really freaking cool, dude. That's awesome. I like that a lot. Dionysus had a cult, though? Yo, cults are pretty pog, to be honest. True, IRL. The damn Empire State Building. I swear to God. I'm just not going to get this joke, I guess, until I read book 3, apparently. It was all too much, especially the fact that I seemed to be included in Chiron's we, as if I were a part of some club. Who are you, Chiron? Who am I? Chiron smiled. He shifted his weight as if he were going to get up out of his wheelchair, but I knew that was impossible. He was paralyzed from the waist down. Who are you? He mused. Well, that's a question we all want answered, isn't it? But for now, we should get you a bunk in cabin 11. There will be new friends to meet, and plenty of time for lessons tomorrow. Besides, there will be s'mores at the campfire tonight, and I simply adore chocolate. And then he did rise from his wheelchair, but there was something odd about the way he did. His blanket fell away from his legs, and the legs didn't move. His waist kept getting longer, rising above his belt. At first, I thought he was wearing very long white velvet underwear. but as he kept rising out of the chair, taller than any man, I realized that the velvet underwear wasn't underwear. It was the front of an animal muscle and sinew under coarse white fur, and the wheelchair was the chair. It was some kind of container, an enormous box on wheels, and he must have been magic, because there's no way it could have held all of him. A leg came out, a long and knobby knee with huge polished hoof, then another front leg, and the hindquarters, and the box was empty. Nothing but a metal shell with a couple of fake human legs attached. I stared at the horse who had just sprung from the wheelchair, a huge white stallion, but where its neck should be was the upper body of my Latin teacher, smoothly grafted to the horse's trunk. What a relief, the centaur said. I've been cooped up in there so long, my fetlocks had fallen asleep. Now come, Percy Jackson, let's meet the other campers. Yeah, I'm getting so much nostalgia. I bet, man. These books are like, what, almost 20 years old at this point? Reading that para in like 3rd grade really sticks with you, speaking from personal experience. Honestly, yeah, if I read that book, if I read that paragraph when I was in elementary school, and like, and I had just gone everywhere, I'd be like, damn, there's Olympus, there's Olympus, there's Olympus. The Greek gods all over this bitch. That's wild. Okay, really quickly before I get to the next chapter, let's talk about this one. I think this might be the new best chapter. I think this might be the new best one, chapter 5, just because, like, that big lore paragraph was so cool. Like, a lot of the information, and we got introduced to Mr. D, which is obviously my new favorite character. No, I think it's him and Percy I like the most at this point. But he was really cool. I just like the vague nature of everything, even though it was annoying, like the way it kind of like sprinkled in what the gods were. I can't stay, I gotta study for a test. Alright, that's fine, man. Go study. Testing is important. Thank you for joining the stream. I really appreciate you. Yes, school is important. Fucking nerd. Anyways, laters. But yeah, I think this was really freaking cool chapter. A lot of the world building was really great in this one. That's been my favorite part of this. We love the Supreme Lord of the Bathroom. One day he'll meet the Bad Boy Supreme. Oh yeah, that's what this next chapter is called. Yeah, I become the Supreme Lord of the Bathroom. I'll be back, and it's a DMV test, not school. Oh, okay. Then that's honestly actually worse. I mean, it's better because like it's not school, but going to the DMV is really annoying, and it's a terrible experience. So yeah. Alright, but not much really more to say about the chapter, other than it was amazing. I liked all the cool, like, drip-fed world building we get from, like, some of the things with the gods, how we're not supposed to say their names for whatever reason. It's really interesting. And, just that big paragraph was really freaking cool. And if I read this for the first time, that reveal that he's a horse, that he's a centaur, that would have been so epic. That would have been so epic. Alright. So, then, let's just get into the next chapter, man. Chapter 6, I become Supreme Lord of the Bathroom. Alright. Once I got over the fact that my Latin teacher was a horse, yeah, that's a little bit of a crazy revelation. We had a nice tour, though I was careful not to walk behind him. I'd done pooper skewer patrol on the Mates Thanksgiving Day parade a few times, and I'm sorry, I did not trust Kyron's back end the way I trusted his front. Fair enough. We passed the volleyball pit. Hey, let's go. Volleyball is hype. Several of the campers nudged each other. One pointed to the Minotaur's horn I was carrying. Others said, "That's him." Most of the campers were older than me. Their satyr friends were bigger than Grover. All of them trotting around in orange Camp Half-Blood t-shirts, with nothing else to cover their bare, shaggy hind quarters. I'm not gonna ask that question. I don't need to know the answer. I wasn't normally shy, but the way they stared at me made me uncomfortable. I felt like they were expecting me to do a flip or something. Do one. That'd be pretty cool. I looked at the farmhouse. It was a lot bigger than I realized. 4 stories tall, sky blue with white trim, like an upscale seaside resort. I was checking out the brass eagle weather vane on top when something caught my eye. A shadow in the uppermost window of the attic gable. Something had moved the curtain just for a second, and I got the distinct impression I was being watched. "What's up there?" I asked Kyron. He looked where I was pointing, and his smile faded. "Just the attic." "Somebody lives there?" "No," he said with finality. "Not a single living thing there." "That's interesting. I don't believe that for a second." I got the feeling he was being truthful, but I also was sure something had moved that curtain. Come along, Percy, Chiron said, his light-hearted tone, and now a little forced. Lots to see. I mean, he's right, technically. Don't tell me! I don't want to know! But we shall see. We read on. I don't want to know, though. Let me theorize out loud, damn it. Let me theorize out loud. Anyways. There we go. We walked through the strawberry fields where campers were picking bushels of berries while a satyr put a tune on a reed pipe. Chiron told me the camp grew a nice crop for export to New York restaurants and Mount Olympus. It pays our expenses, he explained. The strawberries take almost no effort. Fair enough, pretty smart. He said Mr. D had this effect on fruit-bearing plants. They just went crazy when he was around. It worked best with wine grapes. Mr. D was restricted from growing those, so they grew strawberries instead. That's funny. I watched the satyr playing his pipe. His music was causing lines of bugs to leave the strawberry patch in every direction, like refugees fleeing a fire. I wondered if Grover could work that kind of magic with music. I wondered if he was still inside the farmhouse, getting chewed out by Mr. D. Grover won't get in too much trouble, will he? I asked Chiron. I mean, he was a good protector, really. Chiron sighed. He shed his tweed jacket and draped it over his horse's back like a saddle. Grover has big dreams, Percy. Perhaps bigger than are reasonable. To reach his goal, he must first demonstrate great courage by succeeding as a keeper, finding a new camper and bringing him safely to Half-Blood Hill. Oh, so that was his first task. Okay, alright, interesting. But he did that. I might agree with you, Chiron said, but it is not my place to judge. Dionysus and the Council of Cloven Elders, interesting, must decide. I'm afraid they might not see this assignment as a success. After all, Grover lost you in New York, then there's the unfortunate fate of your mother. And the fact that Grover was unconscious when you dragged him over the firing line, the council might question whether this shows any courage on Grover's part. I wanted to protest. None of what happened was Grover's fault. I also felt really, really guilty. If I hadn't given Grover the slip at the bus station, he might not have gotten in trouble. He'll get a second chance, won't he? Chiron was. I'm afraid that was Grover's second chance. What? Percy, the council was not anxious to give him another either, after what happened the first time 5 years ago. Olympus knows I advised him to wait longer before trying again. He's still so small for his age. How old is he? Oh, 28! What? Grover is not 28 years old. No. He's 28 years old? No, I'm sorry. I refuse to believe that. Wait, and he's in 6th grade? Satyrs mature half as fast as humans. Percy, Grover has been the equivalent of a middle school student for the past 6 years. What? He's been in middle school for 6 years? Sam, give me a second. I'm in shock. Give me a second. That's really old. Give me a second. Hold on. He's mentally 14, so it would seem. Okay. Hold up. Okay. We're gonna read. That's horrible. Quite, Chiron agreed. At any rate, Grover is a late bloomer, even by satyr standards. Not very accomplished at woodland magic. Oh, they know magic? Alas, he was anxious to pursue his dream. Perhaps now he will find some other career. That's not fair, I said. What happened the first time? Is it really so bad? Chiron looked away quickly. Let's move along, shall we? Wow. Rude. Poor Grover, middle school for 6 years. That's honestly a massive L. That is a huge L. Chiron looked away quickly. Let's move along, shall we? But I wasn't quite ready to let the subject drop. Something had occurred to me when Chiron talked about my mother's fate, as if he were intentionally avoiding the word death. The beginnings of an idea, a tiny, hopeful fire started forming in my mind. Chiron, I said, if the gods in Olympus and all that are real, yes, child, does that mean the underworld is real too? Chiron's expression darkened. Yes, child. He paused as if choosing his words carefully. There's a place where spirits go after death. But for now, until we know more, I would urge you to put that out of your mind. Okay? What do you mean, until we know more? Come on, Percy. Let's see the woods. These people love not answering Percy's questions. It's their favorite pastime. As we got closer, I realized how huge the forest was. It took up at least a quarter of the valley, with trees so tall and thick, you could imagine nobody had been in there since the Native Americans. Chiron said, the woods are stocked, if you care to try your luck, but go armed. Stocked? With what? I asked. Armed with what? You'll see. Capture the flag, it's Friday night. Do you have your own sword and shield? Of course he doesn't have his own sword and shield. What are you talking about? People just don't carry around that kind of equipment, even though I wish they did, because it'd be really cool and I want one. My own? No, Chiron said. I don't suppose you do. I don't think a size 5 will do. I'll visit the armory later. I wanted to ask you what kind of summer camp had an armory. There was too much else to think about, so the tour continued. We saw the archery range, the canoeing lake, the stables, which Chiron didn't seem to like very much. That's good. The javelin range, the sing-along amphitheater, and the arena where Chiron said they held a sword and spear fights. Sword and spear fights, I asked. Cabin challenges and all that, he explained. Not lethal, usually. Oh yes, and there's the mess hall. Chiron pointed to an outdoor pavilion, framed in a white Grecian columns on a hill overlooking the sea. There was a dozen stone picnic tables. No roof, no walls. What do you do when it rains? I asked. Harry looked at me as if I'd gone a little weird. We still have to eat, don't we? I decided to drop the subject. Finally, he showed me the cabins. There were 12 of them nestled in the woods by the lake. They were arranged in a U, with two at the base of the 5 in a row on either side, and they were without a doubt the most bizarre collection of buildings I'd ever seen. Okay, except for the fact that each had a large brass number above the door. Odds on the left side, even on the right, and they looked absolutely nothing alike. Number 9 had smokestacks like a tiny factory. Number 4, tomato vines on the walls and roofs made out of real grass. 7 seemed to be made of solid gold, which gleamed so much in the sunlight it was almost impossible to look at. They all face in a commons area about the size of soccer fields, dotted with Greek statues, fountains, flower beds, and a couple of basketball hoops, which were more my speed. There we go. In the center of the field was a huge stone-lined fire pit. Even though it was a warm afternoon, the hearth smoldered. God, words! Brain, do words, please. The hearth smoldered. A girl about 9 years old was tending the flames, poking the coals with a stick. The pair of cabins at the head of the field, number 1 and 2, looked like his and hers mausoleums. Big white marble boxes with heavy columns in front. Damn, this page is kicking my ass in terms of words. Listen, Chiron was a little scatter-minded in this book, but he means well, does he? Wait, Hestia? I have no idea what that even means. But sure. Scatter-minded, okay, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Okay, where the hell was I? Huge stone and fire pit, girl 9 years old. Looked like cabin. Okay, yeah, cabin 1 was the biggest and bulkiest of the 12. Its polished bronze doors shimmered like a hologram, so that from the different angles, lightning bolts seemed to streak across them. Cabin 2 was more graceful somehow, with slimmer columns, garlanded with pomegranates and flowers. The walls were carved with images of peacocks. Zeus and Hera, I guessed? Correct, Chiron said. Their cabins look empty. Several of the cabins are. That's true. No one ever stays in 1 or 2. Okay, so each cabin had a different dot, like a mascot. 20 cabins for the 12 Olympians. But why would some be empty? I stopped. Wait. If Dionysus is the son of Zeus, right? Doesn't that mean that like everyone here is like his cousin or something, or like a little brother or sister? What, I had no idea this was teased this early? What was? Actually, don't tell me. Don't tell me. I don't want to know. Don't tell me. I don't want to know. 12 cab, yeah, some empty. But why would some be empty? I stopped in front of the first cabin on the left. Cabin 3. It wasn't high and mighty like cabin 1, but long and low and solid. The outer walls were of rough gray stone, studded with pieces of seashells and coral, as if the slabs had been hewn straight through the bottom of the ocean floor. I peeked inside the open doorway, and Kyron said, "Oh, I wouldn't do that." Before he could pull me back, I caught the salty scent of the interior, like the wind on the shore at Montauk. Wait. So this was... He stepped into one cabin. It wasn't high, but long and low. I didn't reread that paragraph. That did not go into my head. It wasn't high and mighty like cabin 1, but long and low and solid. The outer walls were of rough gray stone, studded with pieces of seashells and coral, as if slabs had been hewn straight from the bottom of the ocean floor. I peeked inside the open doorway, and Kyron said, "Oh, I wouldn't do that." Before he could pull me back, I caught the salty scent of the interior, like the wind at the shore of Montauk. The interior walls glowed like Avalon. There were 6 empty bunk beds, with silk sheets turned down. There was no sign anyone ever slept there. The place felt so sad and lonely. I was glad that Kyron put his hand on my shoulder and said, "Come along, Percy." Interesting. Most of the other cabins were crowded with campers. Number 5 was bright red, a real nasty paint job, as if the color had been splashed on with buckets and fists. The roof was lined with barbed wire. A stuffed wild boar's head hung over the doorway, and its eyes seemed to follow me inside. I could see a bunch of mean-looking kids, both girls and boys, arm wrestling and arguing with each other. Oh, rock music blared. Let's go. The loudest girl was maybe 13 or 14. She wore a size XXL. Damn. This girl like 20 feet tall, Camp Half-Foot t-shirt under a camouflage jacket. She zeroed on me and gave me an evil sneer. She reminded me of Nancy Boba Fett, though the camper girl was much bigger and tougher looking, and her hair was long and stringy and brown instead of red. And here's that thing again. It's comforted that the gods don't have DNA, so it doesn't matter. Should I know what that means? I tend to reading the books, fix those, so I've gone through the first book about 20 times. I have no idea what that means, but cool. I'm gonna say that a lot. It's probably gonna get annoying, but I have no idea what a lot of this stuff means, obviously. Hydration is key for reading aloud and many other things. Yes, it very much is. I've learned recently. Tougher looking, and her hair was long and stringy and brown instead of red. I kept walking, trying to stay clear of Kyron's hooves. We haven't seen any other centaurs, I observed. "No," said Kyron sadly. "My kinsmen are a wild and barbaric folk, I'm afraid. You might encounter them in the wilderness or at major sporting events, but you won't see any here." "Did your name was Kyron?" "Are you really?" He smiled down at me. "The Kyron from the stories? Trainer of Hercules and all that?" "Yes, I am, Percy." "What?" "No." I gotta go now? Bye? Alright, thanks for joining Stars for Life. I really appreciate you being here. What is it? No, in the Hercules movie, he was trained by a satyr, not a centaur. Disney knows what they're talking about, not this book. It's clearly wrong. What? But yeah, he trained Hercules? Yes, Percy, I am. But shouldn't you be dead? Karen paused as if the question intrigued him. I honestly don't know about should be. The truth is, I can't be dead. You see, eons ago, the gods granted my wish. I could continue the work I loved. I could be a teacher of heroes as long as humanity needed me. Interesting. I gained much from that wish, and I gave up much, but I'm still here, just so I can only assume I'm still needed. I thought about being a teacher for 3,000 years. It wouldn't have made my top 10 things to wish for a list. Does it ever get boring? No, he said. Horribly depressing at times, but never boring. Why depressing? Kyron seemed to turn hard of hearing again. "Oh, look," he said. "Annabelle is waiting for us." My guy. Love that. Fun fact. I love fun facts. They're the funnest of facts. I have another water bottle over here. Sore legs. Okay. Jesus Christ. Let's pop this open. I'm gonna need a lot of water now. I need to step up for a second and grab another bottle. The blonde girl I met at the big house was reading a book in front of the last cabin on the left, number 11. When we reached her, she looked me over critically, like she was still thinking about how much I drooled. I tried to see what she was reading, but I couldn't make out the title. I thought my dyslexia was acting up. Then I realized the title wasn't even English. The letters looked Greek to me. I mean, literally Greek. There are pictures of temples and statues in different kinds of columns, like those in an architecture book. Annabeth, Chiron said. I have master's archery class at noon. Will you take Percy from here? Yes, sir. Cabin 11, Chiron told me, gesturing toward the door, and make yourself at home. Out of all the cabins, 11 looked the most like a regular old summer camp cabin, with the emphasis on old. The threshold was worn down, the brown paint peeling over. The door was one of those doctor symbols, a winged pole with two snakes wrapped around it. What did they call it? Caduceus? Inside it was packed with people, both boys and girls, no more than the number of bunk beds. Sleeping bags were spread all over on the floor. It looked like a gym where the Red Cross had set up an evacuation center. Chiron didn't go in. The door was too low for him, but when the campers saw him, they all stood and bowed respectfully. Damn. Thought I'd drop by insouciant. Well, I don't know how to read your name, but thank you for dropping by. I appreciate you being here. I wonder how you would react to the Hunters of Artemis. That's a pretty cool name. Do jumping jacks if you need to stretch. Thank you for the what's the word? Suggestion. I'm just sore from doing workout yesterday, so yeah. That sounded like I was lying, but I'm not. Okay, here we go. Well then, Chiron said. Good luck, Percy. I'll see you at dinner. He galloped away toward the archery range. I stood in the doorway looking at the kids. They weren't bowing anymore. They were staring at me, sizing me up. I knew this routine. I'd gone through it enough at school. Well, Annabeth prompted. Go on. So naturally, I tripped coming in the door and made a total fool of myself. Same. There were some snickers from the campers, but none of them said anything. Annabeth announced, Percy Jackson, meet cabin 11. Regular or undetermined? Somebody asked. I didn't know what to say, but Annabeth said, undetermined. Everybody groaned. A guy who was a little older than the rest came forward. Now, campers. That's what we're here for. Welcome, Percy. You can have the spot on the floor right over there. The guy was about 19, and he looked pretty cool. He was tall and muscular, with short, cropped, sandy hair, and a friendly smile. He wore an orange tank top, cutoffs, and sandals, and a leather necklace with 5 different colored clay beads. The only thing unsettling about his appearance was a thick white scar that ran from just beneath his right eye to his jaw, like an old knife slash. This is Luke, Annabeth said, and her voice sounded different somehow. I glanced over, and could have sworn she was blushing. Luke? What an upstanding young gentleman he must be. What a kind, Chadley fella it seems he is. There's nothing fishy going on about Luke at all. Honestly, top tier. I can already tell, top tier character, Luke. What a good guy. She saw me looking, and her expressions hardened again. He's your counselor for now. For now? I asked. You're undetermined, Luke explained. Patiently, they don't know what cabin to put you in. So you're here. Cabin 11 takes all newcomers, all visitors. Naturally, we would. Hermes, our patron, is the god of travelers. Thought he was the god of fucking. No, I'm kidding. I'm just curious, like, how messed up Lucabeth is. Is that a thing? Is that a ship? Major character alert. That's not until book 3. I have no idea what it is. No what? Anyways, naturally, okay. I looked at the tiny section of floor they give me. Tiny section of floor. I had nothing to put there to mark it as my own. No luggage, no clothes, no sleeping bag, just the Minotaur's form. That's a pretty dope thing to have, though. Not book reading were the words I had. I thought about setting that down, but then I remembered that Hermes was also the god of thieves. Looked around the campers' faces. Some sullen, some grinning stupidly, some eyeing me as if they were waiting for a chance to pick my pockets. How long will I be here, I asked. Good question, Luke said. Until you're determined. How long will that take? The campers all laughed. Come on, Annabeth told me. I'll show you the volleyball court. People just love not answering Percy's questions. Spoiler alert, then don't tell me. I don't want to know. Don't say it in the chat. Please don't spoil me, please. She grabbed my waist and dragged me outside. Waist? Oh, wrist. Words. Good job. I could hear the kids of Cabin 11 laughing behind me. When we were a few feet away, Annabeth said, Jackson, you have to do better than that. What? Okay. She rolled her eyes and mumbled under her breath. I can't believe I thought you were the one. Whoa, what? What are you talking about? She rolled her eyes and mumbled under her breath. I can't believe I thought you were the one. What's your problem? I was getting angry now. All I know is I killed some bull guy. Don't talk like that, Annabeth told me. You know how many kids at this camp wish they'd had your chance to get killed? To fight the Minotaur. What do you think we trained for? I shook my head. Look, if the thing I fought really was the Minotaur, the same one in the stories, yes. Then there's only one. Yes. And he died like a gajillion years ago, right? Theseus killed him in the labyrinth, so monsters don't die, Percy. They can't be killed, but they don't die. They can be killed, but they don't. Interesting. So Percy's killed two things. And there's only one Minotaur of legend, and it was that one. And then everybody's like, oh shit, he's a crazy, super strong, awesome dude. Killing the Minotaur at 12 with no weapons is an insane feat, apparently. The Lucabeth comment was a slight spoiler. Okay, then I won't think about it. At 12, Percy's already on the level of some Greek heroes, stringing a snake in his crib like Hercules and killing the Minotaur like Theseus. Interesting. Here we go. Look, if the thing okay, I already read that. They can't be killed. Oh, thanks. That clears it up. They don't have souls like you and me. You can dispel them for a while, maybe even for a whole lifetime if you're lucky. But they are primal forces. Chiron calls them archetypes. Eventually they reform. I thought about Miss Dodds. I mean, if I killed one accidentally with a sword, your math teacher. That's right, she's still out there. You just made her very, very mad. How do you know about Miss Dodds? You talk in your sleep. You almost called her something. A fury? They're Hades' torturers, right? Annabeth glanced nervously at the ground, as if she expected it to open up and swallow her. You shouldn't call them by name. Even here, we call them the kindly ones. Interesting. If we have to speak of them at all. Look, is there anything we can say without it thundering? I sounded whining, even to myself. But right then, I didn't care. Why do I have to stay in cabin 11 anyway? Why is everybody so crowded together? There are plenty of empty bunks right over there. I pointed to the first few cabins, and Annabeth turned pale. You don't just choose a cabin, Percy. It depends on who your parents are. Or your parent. She stared at me, waiting for me to get it. My mom is Sally Jackson, I said. She works at the candy store in Grand Central Station. At least she used to. I'm sorry about your mom, Percy, but that's not what I mean. I'm talking about your other parent, your dad. He's dead. I never knew him. Wow, Percy must be slow. Percy must be so... You haven't put the pieces together yet, my guy. You haven't put them together? How could you say that? You know him? Wait a second. At the side, clearly she's had this conversation before with other kids. Your father is not dead, Percy. How can you say that? You know him? No, of course not. And how can you say? Because I know you. You wouldn't be here if you weren't one of us. You don't know anything about me. No? She raised an eyebrow. I bet you moved around from school to school. I'll bet you were kicked out of a lot of them. How? Diagnosed with dyslexia? Probably ADHD too. I tried to swallow my embarrassment. What does that have to do with anything? taken together is almost a sure sign. The letters float off the page when you read, right? Because your mind is hardwired from ancient Greek. In the ADHD, you're impulsive, can't sit still in the classroom. That's your battlefield reflexes. In a real fight, that keep you alive. That's where the attention problems, because you see too much. What? Percy, not too little. Your senses are better than regular mortals. The worst teachers want you medicated. Most of them are monsters. They don't... What? They don't want you seeing them for what they are. You sound like you went through the same thing. Most of the kids here did. If you weren't like us, you couldn't have survived the Minotaur, much less the ambrosia and the nectar. Ambrosia and nectar, the food and drink we were giving you to make you better. That stuff would have killed a normal kid. That's so sad. I want some. It would have turned your blood into fire and your bones to sand, and you'd be dead. Face it, you're a half-blood. A half-blood? I was reading with so many questions, I didn't know where to start. Then a husky voice yelled, "Well, a newbie!" I looked over. The big girl from the ugly red cabin was sauntering toward us. The 20-foot tall one? She had three other girls behind her, all big and ugly, meaning looking like her, all wearing camo jackets. Hold on. And the battles on the beach near the end. I won't say with who. What? He's got another connection to Theseus lad from King the Minotaur. I can't wait till you see his dog and horse. Here we go. Okay, something's about to happen. I love looking in the comments and then reading them and then not knowing a single thing about what the hell is going on. I just don't get it at all. Clarice, Annabeth sighed. Why don't you go polish your spear or something? Sure, Miss Princess, the big girl said. So I can run you through with it Friday night. Jesus Christ. Ere escoricas. What the fuck? What did you say to me? Annabeth said, which I somehow understood was Greek for go to the crows. Interesting. I thought I had a feeling it was a worse curse than it sounded. You don't stand a chance. We'll pulverize you, Clarice said, but her eye twitched. Perhaps she wasn't sure she could follow through on the threat. She turned toward me. Who's this little runt? Percy Jackson, Annabeth said. Meet Clarice, daughter of Ares. I blinked like the war god? Clarice sneered. You got a problem with that? No, I said. Yeah, she's angry like a god of war, I would imagine. I said, recovering my wits. It explains the bad smell, Clarice growled. We got an intonation ceremony for newbies, Percy. Whatever, come on, I'll show you. Clarice, another tried to say, stay out of it, you wise girl. Annabeth looked pained, but she did stay out of it, and I didn't really want her help. I was a new kid. I had to learn my own rep. Fair enough, respect. My middle school self thought that having ADHD and dyslexia was the coolest thing because of Percy Jackson. I bet, dude. You know what? I still think ADHD is the coolest thing. I've had ADHD for a while and I've always loved having it. But listen, if you're telling me those are my natural battle reflexes, okay? Listen, that makes sense. Alright? Listen, I'm about to go outside and like fight a bull, okay? We're gonna test it out. I'll let you guys know how it goes. If you don't see another post from me, then you know how it went. I just rub my hands together in anticipation this whole chapter. I didn't know what that I exactly was back then. POJ made me feel much better about having ADD. Bro, I always loved having ADHD. Listen, listen, I'm about to go test it. I'll let you guys know how it is. I'm a natural battle reflexes, okay? So, in the past, I've lived. But I've never fought a bull before, so we'll see. I handed Annabeth my Minotaur horn and got ready to fight, but before I knew it, Clarice had me by the neck and was dragging me toward a cinder block building that I knew immediately was the bathroom. Damn. She wasted no time. I was kicking and punching. I'd been in plenty of fights before, but this girl Clarice had hands like iron. She dragged me into the girls' bathroom. There was a line of toilets on one side and a line of shower stalls down the other. It smelled just like any public bathroom, and I was thinking as much as I could think, with Clarice ripping my hair out, that if this place belonged to the gods, I should have been able to afford classier jobs. That's pretty fucking funny. Clarissa's friends were all laughing, and I was trying to find the strength I'd used to fight the Minotaur, but it just wasn't there. Like he's big 3 material, Clarice said, as she pushed me toward one of the toilets. Yeah, right, Minotaur probably fell over laughing. He was so stupid looking. Damn, they're mean. Her friend snickered. Annabeth stood in the corner, watching through her fingers. Clarice bent me over on my knees, started pushing my head toward the toilet bowl. We're already get a regular old classic swirly? The classic? It reeked like rusted pipes, and, well, like what goes into toilets. I strained to keep my head up, and I was looking at scummy waters, thinking I will not go into that. I won't. Then something happened. I felt a tug on the pipe of my stomach. I heard the plumbing rumble, the pipe shudder. Clarice's grip on my hair loosened. Water shot out of the toilet, making an arc straight over my head. And the next thing I knew, I was sprawled on the bathroom tiles, with Clarice screaming behind me. I turned just as water blasted out of the toilet again, hitting Clarice straight in the face so hard it pushed her down onto her butt. The water stayed on her like the spray from a fire hose, pushing her back into a shower stall. What could this be foreshadowing, I wonder? What could this be foreshadowing, I wonder? Who knows? She struggled, gasping, and her friends started coming toward her. But then the other toilets exploded too, and 6 more streams of toilet water blasted them back. The showers acted up too. Together, all the fixtures sprayed the camouflage girls right out of the bathroom, spinning them around like pieces of garbage being washed away. As soon as they were out the door, I felt the tug in my gut lessen, and the water shut off quickly as it had started. The entire bathroom was flooded. Annabeth hadn't been spared. She was dripping wet. But she hadn't been pushed out the door. She was standing in exactly the same place, staring at me in shock. I looked down and I realized I was sitting in the only dry spot in the whole room. There was a circle of dry floor around me, and I didn't have one drop of water on my clothes. Nothing. I stood up, my leg shaky. Annabeth said, "How did you?" "I don't know." We walked to the door outside. Clarice and her friends were sprawled in the mud, and a bunch of other campers had gathered around to gawk. Clarice's hair was flattened across her face. Her camouflage jacket was sopping, and she smelled like sewage. She gave me a look of absolute hatred. "You're a dead new boy. You are totally dead." I probably should have let it go, but I said, "You want me to gargle with toilet water again, Clarice? Close your mouth." Oh, damn. Dang. He's going for it. Her friends had to hold her back. They dragged her toward cabin 5, while the other campers made way to avoid her flailing feet. Annabeth stared at me. I couldn't tell whether she was just grossed out or angry at me for dousing her. "What?" I demanded. "What are you thinking?" "I'm thinking," she said, "that I want you on my team to capture the flag." Damn, hold on. Let me get a drink of water. That was chapter 6. He's gotta be determined now, right? Like, how many other kids can make water fly? Like, you know? I feel like that's like the giveaway, right? I'm glad it made a lot of people feel seen. I think Riordan's son has ADHD. Oh, that's pretty cool then. I like it. There's mentioned the big 3. Let's go. Interesting. She shouldn't have underestimated him. Honestly, he beat the Minotaur. Apparently she hasn't beat the Minotaur, and he's the only guy to ever do it. So, getting this in TV show, I hope, would be epic. I'm sure. Look, this show is a Disney budget at the end of the day. That scene's probably gonna go crazy. Percy's always been an elite trash talker. I love trash talking characters. There's minor river gods and stuff too. Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay. Fair enough. Nope, he's not determined yet. Apparently not. Alright, give me a second. I'm gonna go grab a second bottle or a new bottle of water, and then we're gonna talk about this one and then move on to the last chapter. Alright. Hurts to walk. Back here, headphones for music. Ow, that hurt for some reason. Alright, knew reading could be so incredibly painful when your mouth is super dry. Okay. That chapter, I said this before, the thing about the Minotaur scene, it was raining? Oh! I didn't notice that! That's really cool! It was raining in the Minotaur scene, so he got struck. That's really cool. I like that a lot. I love tiny bits of foreshadowing like that. That's really freaking awesome. Listen, if I said it last time, I think this... I don't know if I like this chapter more than chapter 5, but it's definitely up there in terms of, like, I like them on this, probably on the same level. Because, like, we got to see interact and see a lot of the kids and more of the camp side of the camp. Learn about, like, the 12 little houses. A lot of people are in Camp Hermes. And we get to meet Luke, obviously the nicest character, who has no evil intentions about him at all. Obviously. Very, very cool. He's also very old. I didn't expect him to be so old for a summer camp. That's really interesting to me. I wonder why that is. Wait till you read the Capture the Flag chapter. That was always one of my favorite scenes as a kid. The Capture the Flag chapter was, even though looking back on it now, it makes no sense, because he, like, gets his ass beat, and then everybody just kind of stands there and he's like, dang, guess if we jumped him, he would win. I don't know about all that. Plus Luke's a counselor, I think. Yeah, he is. That's fair. That's fair. But yeah, I like seeing the camp side of it, and I know Clarice is a big character. I don't know anything about her other than what we see in, like, Sea of Monsters, and that she's the daughter of Ares, which is a pretty cool thing to be the kid of, but she seems really angry. I wonder if all the Ares kids are super angry like that. That'd be pretty funny. And not, honestly, I have less to say about this one, though, because it's just like getting us introduced to the camp and the kids. Not too many lore drops, but we did have that scene where Percy threw shit on Clarice, which will be hilarious always, because that's toilet water. There's gotta be poop in that. There's gotta be poop and pee. They basically merged book Annabeth and book Clarice into movie Annabeth. That's what it seems like. That's what I heard. Alright. Oogie. One more swig. And then we're gonna get into the last chapter of the day, which is Chapter 7. My dinner goes up in smoke. Luke has a 100% reason to hate the gods. We'll see. What's Clarice's last name? Clarice's last name is Clarice Shitwater all over her face, is what her last name is. It's Greek. Trust me, I know Greek. That's what it is. Clarice Shitwater all over her face. Alright. Chapter 7, my dinner goes up in smoke. Word of the bathroom incident spread immediately. Wherever I went, campers pointed at me and murmured something about toilet water. Maybe they were just staring at Annabeth, who is still pretty much dripping wet. That's funny. She showed me a few more places. The metal shop where kids were forging their own swords. That's awesome! That's so cool! The arts and crafts room, where satyrs were sandblasting a giant marble statue of a goat man, and the climbing walls, which actually consisted of two facing walls that shook violently, dropped boulders, sprayed lava, and clashed together. If you didn't get to the top fast enough. Oh, okay. We've been shooting for an hour and a half. Okay. I expected it to be a bit longer. Okay, not too bad, not too bad. Finally, we returned to the canoeing lake, where the trail led back to the cabins. I've got training to do, Annabeth said flatly. Dinner is at 7:30. Just following your cabin to the mess hall. Just follow your cabin to the mess hall. Annabeth, I'm sorry about the toilets. Whatever. It wasn't my fault. Yeah, you can't be mad about that. He doesn't know. He literally just thought like he's the son of a god. She looked at me skeptically, and realized it was my fault. I'd made water shoot out of the bathroom fixtures. I didn't understand how, but the toilets had responded to me. I had become one with the plumbing. That's great. I had become one with the plumbing. I hope they do it justice in the series. I hope they will. I'm sure they will. Listen, Disney has a major budget, and making this a second time, especially with Rick Riordan being super involved in this, I'm sure they're gonna do it justice. I need to talk to the Oracle, Annabeth said. Who? Not who, what? The Oracle. I'll ask Chiron. I stared into the lake, wishing somebody would give me a straight answer for once. I wasn't expecting anybody to be looking back at me from the bottom, so my heart skipped a beat when I noticed two teenage girls sitting cross-legged at the base of the pier, about 20 feet below. They wore blue jeans and shimmering green t-shirts, oh, not the orange, and their brown hair floated loose around their shoulders as minnows darted in and out. They smiled and waved as if I were a long-lost friend. Interesting. Don't encourage them, Annabeth warned. Naiads are terrible flirts. Naiads? I repeated, feeling completely overwhelmed. That's it. I want to go home now. Annabeth frowned. Don't you get it, Percy? You are home. This is the only safe place on Earth for kids like us. You mean mentally disturbed kids? I mean not human. Not totally human, anyway. Half human. Half human and half what? I think you know. How slow is Percy? Bro, we've told you like 6 times by now. If you don't, pick it up, bro. Pick it up. This is not. You can't be this late to realizing it. We're almost 100 pages into this. I didn't want to admit it, but I was afraid I did. I felt a tingling in my limbs, a sensation I sometimes felt when my mom talked about my dad. God, I said. Half God. That's the coolest thing to say. Gotta have real lava set for realism. Yeah. Just bring lava on the set. They'll be fine. Everybody will be fine. Annabeth nodded. Your father's dead, Percy. He's one of the Olympians. That's crazy. Is it? What's the most? Is somebody coming in here?
So after you finish, you'll help me?
Yep. Bye-bye, Percy. Anyways, rude. So rude. Anyways, where the hell was I? Completely forgot. Yes, I have a dog. His name is Dog. Anyways, where was I? Half God. Okay. Your father did. That's crazy. Is it? What's the most common thing gods did in the old stories? They ran around, falling in love with humans, and having kids with them. Do you think they've changed their habits in the last few millennia? But those are just, I almost said myths again. Then I remembered Chiron's warning that in 2,000 years, I might be considered a myth. But if all the kids here are half gods, demigods, Emma said, that's the official term, or half-bloods. Then who's your dad? Her hand tightened around the pier railing. I got the feeling I just trespassed on a sensitive subject matter. My dad is a professor at West Point, she said. I've been seeing him since I was very small. He teaches American history. He's human. Wait, you assume it has to be a male god who finds a human female attractive? How sexist is that? Who's your mom then? I think he's just thinking that his dad, so must be a bunch of other dads. Hey, what's up, Mochi Jacobs? That's a cool name. Welcome into the stream. Praise pup? Yes. Praise dog. Emma said, Athena, goddess of wisdom and battle. Okay, I thought, why not? And my dad? Undetermined, Emma said. Like I told you before, nobody knows. Except my mother. She knew. Maybe not, Percy. Gods don't always reveal their identities. My dad would have. He loved her. Emma gave me a cautious look. She didn't want to burst my bubble. Maybe you're right. Maybe he'll send a sign. That's the only way to know for sure. Your father has to send you a sign claiming you as his son. Sometimes it happens. You mean sometimes it doesn't? Annabeth ran her palm along the rail. The gods are busy. They have a lot of kids and they don't always, well, sometimes they don't care about us, Percy. They ignore us. I thought about some of the kids I'd seen in the Hermes cabin, teenagers who looked sullen and depressed, as if they were waiting for a call that would never come. I'd known kids like that at Yancey, shuffled off to boarding school by rich parents who didn't have the time to deal with them. But God should behave better. So I'm stuck here, I said. That's it? For the rest of my life? It depends, Annabeth said. Some campers only stay the summer. If you're a child of Aphrodite or Demeter, you're probably not a real powerful force. the monsters might ignore you. So you can get by with a few months of summer training and live in the mortal world for the rest of your life, rest of your years. But for some of us, it's too dangerous to leave. We're year-rounders. In the mortal world, we attract monsters. They sense us, they come to challenge us. Most of the time, they'll ignore us until we're old enough to cause trouble. About 10 or 11 years old. But after that, the most demigods either make their way here or they get killed off. Damn. Demigods either make a few manage to survive in the outside world and become famous. Believe me, if I told you the names, you know them. Some didn't even realize they're demigods, but very very few are like that. So monsters can't get in here? Annabeth shook her head. Not unless they're intentionally stalked in the woods or specially summoned by somebody on the inside. Why would anybody want to summon a monster? Practice fights, practical jokes. The point is, the borders are sealed to keep mortals and monsters out from the outside. Mortals look into the valley and see nothing unusual, just a strawberry farm. So you're a year-rounder, Annabeth nodded from under the collar of her t-shirt. She pulled a leather necklace with 5 clay beads of different colors. It was just like Luke's, except Annabeth also had a big gold ring strung on it, like a college ring. I've been here since I was 7, she said. Every August, on the last day of summer session, you get a bead for surviving another year. Wow, that's kind of dark if you think about it. That's because some people don't get another bead because they die at summer camp. Listening to him reading the book reminds me of my childhood again. That is pretty cool. Honestly, I wish I read these books as a kid. I know a lot of kids who did read them, and I just was like, readings for nerds. So I didn't do that. Not really. I was too lazy to read, to be quite honest. Okay. Another bead for surviving almost another year. I've been here longer than most of the counselors, and they're all in college. Damn. Why did you come so young? She twisted the ring on her necklace. None of your business. Oh, I stood there for a minute in uncomfortable silence, so I could just walk out of here right now if I wanted to. It would be suicide, but you could, with Mr. D or Mr. Kyron's permission. But they wouldn't give permission until the end of the summer session at least, unless you were granted a quest. That hardly ever happens. The last time, her voice trailed off. I could tell from her tone that the last time hadn't gone well. Back in the sick room, I said, when you were feeding me that stuff, ambrosia. Yeah, you asked me something about the summer solstice. Annabeth's shoulders tense. So you do know something? Well, no. Back in my old school, I overheard Grover and Kyron talking about it. Grover mentioned the summer solstice and said something like we didn't have much time because of the deadline. What did that mean? She clenched her fist. I wish I knew. Kyron and the satyrs, they know, but they won't tell me. Something is wrong in Olympus. Something pretty major. Last time I was there, everything seemed so normal. You've been to Olympus? Some of us year-rounders like Luke and Carice and a few others took a field trip during winter solstice. That's when the gods have their big annual council. Whoa, that's so cool. She got to go to Olympus. Same. This book has a level of nostalgia for me. I bet it does. That's pretty cool. That's awesome. But how did you get there? The Long Island Railroad, of course. You get off at Penn Station, Empire State Building, special elevator to the 600th floor. She looked at me like she was sure I must know this already. You are a New Yorker, right? Oh, sure. As far as I knew, there were only 102 floors on the Empire State Building, but I decided not to point that out. Right after we visited, Annabeth continued, the weather got weird, as if the gods started fighting. A couple of times since I've overheard satyrs talking. The best I can figure out is that something important was stolen, and if it isn't returned by summer solstice, there's going to be trouble. When you came, I was helping. Athena can get along with with just about anybody except for Ares, and of course she's got the rivalry with Poseidon. But I mean, aside from that, I thought we could work together. I thought you might know something. I shook my head. I wish I could help her, but I felt too hungry and tired, mentally overloaded, to ask any more questions. I've got to get a quest, Annabeth's mother muttered to herself. I'm not too young. If they would just tell me the problem, I could smell barbecue smoke coming from somewhere. He is not listening. His mind is on food. And honestly, I'm right there with him. I'm really hungry right now. After the stream, I'm going to eat something, and it's going to be delicious. I hope. I can smell barbecue smoke coming from somewhere nearby. Annabeth must have heard my stomach growls. She told me to go on. She'd catch me later. I left her on the pier, tracing her fingers across the rail as if drawing a battle plan. Alright. Jesus Christ, that's so annoying. Back cabin 11, everybody was talking and horsing around waiting for dinner. For the first time, I noticed that a lot of the campers had similar features. Sharp noses, upturned eyebrows, mischievous smiles. They were the kind of kids that teachers would peg as troublemakers. Thankfully, nobody paid much attention to me as I walked over to my spot on the floor and plopped down with my Minotaur horn. Such a dope-ass, artifact to have, like a little keepsake. The counselor, Luke, came over. He had the Hermes family resemblance too. It was marred by that scar on his right cheek, but his smile was intact. My newest sleeping bag, he said. And here I stole you some toiletries from the camp store. I couldn't tell if he was kidding about the stealing part. I said, thanks. No prob. Luke sat next to me, pushed his back against the wall. Tough first day? I don't belong here, I said. I don't even believe in gods. Yeah, he said. That's how we all started. Once you start believing in them, it doesn't get any easier. The bitterness in his voice surprised me, because Luke seemed like a pretty easygoing guy. He looked like he could handle just about anything. So, your dad is Hermes, I asked? He pulled a switchblade out of his back pocket, and for a second I thought he was going to gut me, but he scraped the mud off the sole on his sandal. Yeah, Hermes. The winged foot messenger guy? That's him. Messengers, medicine, travelers, merchants, thieves, anybody who uses the roads. That's why you're here. Enjoying the cabin 11's hospitality. Hermes isn't picky about who he sponsors. I figure Luke didn't mean to call me a nobody. He just had a lot on his mind. You ever meet your dad, I asked? Once. I waited thinking he wanted to tell me. If you wanted to tell me, he'd tell me. Apparently he didn't. I wondered if the story had anything to do with how he got his scar. I'm curious about that too. He didn't have the scar in the movie. Luke looked up and managed to smile. Don't worry about it, Percy. The campers here, they're good people. After all, we're extended family, right? We take care of each other. He seemed to understand how lost I felt, and I was grateful for that, because an older guy like him, even if he was a counselor, should have steered clear of an uncool middle schooler like me. But Luke had welcomed me into the cabin. He'd stolen me some toiletries, which was the nicest thing anybody had ever done for me all day. I decided to ask him my last big question, the one that had been bothering me often. Clarice from Ares was joking about me being Big 3 material then. Then, Annabeth twice, she said I might be the one. She said I should talk to the Oracle. What was that all about? Luke folded his knife. I hate prophecies. What do you mean? His face twitched around the scar. Let's just say, I messed things up for everybody else. The last 2 years, ever since my trip to the Garden of Hesperides went sour, Kyra hasn't allowed any more quests. Annabeth's been dying to get out into the world. She pestered Kyron so much. He finally told her he already knew her fate. He had a prophecy from the Oracle. He wouldn't tell her the whole thing, but he said Annabeth wasn't destined to go on a quest. Yet she had to wait until somebody special came to camp. Ah, interesting. The scar is very important to his character, I imagine. You don't just include a detail like that for no reason. Especially with a writer that's as smart as Riordan is seeming to be, with a lot of details that I know I'm missing just based on you guys' reaction in the chat, and things like the rain when Percy was fighting. Alright. Somebody special. Don't worry about it, kid. They love that. They love not answering his questions. Luke said, Annabeth. No, that's not what. He wasn't yelling. Luke said, Annabeth wants to think every new camper who comes through here is the omen she's been waiting for. Now, come on. It's dinner time. The moment he said it, a horn blew in the distance. Somehow, I knew it was a conch bell, even though I'd never heard one before. Luke yelled, 11, fall in. The whole cabin, about 20 of us, filled into the commons yard and lined up in order of seniority. So of course I was dead last. Campers came in from the other cabins to expect for 3 empty cabins at the end. Cabin 8, which had looked normal in the daytime, but was now starting to glow silver as the sun went down. He marched up the hill to the mess hall pavilion. Satyrs joined us from the meadows. Naiads emerged from the canoeing lake. A few other girls came out of the woods. And when I say out of the woods, I mean straight out of the woods. I saw one girl about 9 or 10 years old melt from the side of a maple tree. What? And come skipping up the hill. What? God of the trees? In all, there were maybe 100 campers, a few dozen satyrs, and a dozen assorted wood nymphs and naiads. I swear the levels of foreshadowing in this book blows my mind. Really. I love me some foreshadowing. I'm sure I won't notice until I've read all the books, though, which is the best kind of foreshadowing. God, my nose is super itchy right now. Okay. In all, there were maybe 300 campers, a few dozen satyrs, and a dozen assorted wood nymphs and naiads. At the pavilion, torches blazed around the marble columns. A central 5 burned in a bronze brazier the size of a bathtub. Each cabin had its own table, covered in white cloth, trimmed in purple. 4 tables were empty. Four tables were empty. The cabin 11 was always overcrowded. I had to squeeze onto the edge of the bench with half of my butt hanging off. I saw Grover sitting at table 12 with Mr. D, a few satyrs, and a couple of plump blonde boys who looked just like Mr. D. Chiron stood to one side, the picnic table being way too small for a centaur. Annabeth was at table 6 with a bunch of serious-looking athletic kids, all with her gray eyes and honey blonde hair. Clarice sat behind me at Aries' table. I completely forgot Annabeth was blonde until they just said it again. I've just been picturing her as the black girl that from the trailer this entire time. So yeah, that's dryads are tree spirits. Interesting. There's a lot more than demigods at this camp. That's pretty freaking cool, actually. Okay, where the hell was I? Don't remember. Let's. Naiads emerged from the skipping up the hill. Okay. Clarice sat behind me at the Aries table. She'd apparently gotten over being hosed down because she was laughing and belching right alongside her friends. Finally, Chiron pounded his hoof against the marble floor of the pavilion, and everybody fell silent. He raised a glass. To the gods! Everybody else raised their glasses. To the gods! Wood nymphs came forward with platters of food. Grapes, apples, strawberries, cheese, fresh bread, and yes, barbecue. Dang, I'm so hungry right now. That sounds awesome. My glass was empty, but Luke said, speak to it. Whatever you want. Non-alcoholic, of course. I said, cherry Coke. The glass filled with sparkling caramel liquid. Then I had an idea. Blue cherry Coke. The soda turned a violent shade of cobalt. I took a cautious sip. Perfect. I drank a toast to my mother. Damn. That is awesome. I want one. Where do I buy it? I want one. That's so cool. That's so freaking cool. She's not gone, I told myself. Not permanently, anyway. She's in the underworld. And if that's a real place, then someday. Oh, that's pretty cool. Here you go, Percy, Luke said, handing me a platter of smoked brisket. Why? This book is making me so hungry. I'm kind of mad. I loaded my plate and was about to take a big bite when I noticed everybody getting up, carrying their plates toward the fire in the center of the pavilion. I wondered if they were going for dessert or something like that. Come on, Luke told me. As I got closer, I saw that everybody was taking a portion of their meal and dropped it into the fire. The ripest strawberry, the juiciest slice of beef, the warmest, most buttery roll, like Luke murmured in my ear, burnt offerings for the gods. They like the smell. You're kidding. His look warned me not to take this lightly, but I couldn't help wondering why an immortal, all-powerful being would like the smell of burning food. That's a fact, to be honest. That's weird. Luke approached the fire, bowed his head, and tossed in a cluster of fat red grapes. Hermes! I was next. I wish I knew what God's name to say. Finally made a silent plea. Whoever you are, tell me, please. I scraped a big slice of brisket into the flames. When I caught a whiff of the smoke, I didn't gag. It smelled nothing like burning food. It smelled of hot chocolate and fresh baked brownies, hamburgers on that grill, wildflowers, and hundreds of other good things that shouldn't have gone well together, but did. I could almost believe in the gods. I could almost believe the gods could live off that smoke. When everybody had returned to their seats and finished eating their meals, Karen pounded his hoof again for our attention. Mr. D got up with a huge sigh. Yes, I suppose I'd better say hello to all you brats. Well, hello. Our activities director, Kyron, says the next Capture the Flag is Friday. Cabin 5 presently holds the Laurels. What? A bunch of ugly cheering rose from Aries' table. What the hell is the Laurels? Olympian... I'm getting House of Hades flashbacks with this scene. Don't know what that means. Moving on. Hold on. Book. Is it okay? A bunch of ugly cheering rose from Harry's table. Personally, Mr. Deegan used, I couldn't care less. But congratulations. Also, I should tell you that we have a new camper thing. Peter Johnson. That's where the Peter Johnson joke comes from. I've seen that floating all the way around. Kyron murmured something. Percy Jackson, Mr. D corrected. That's right. Hurrah! And all that. Now run along to your silly campfire. Go on. Everybody cheered. We all headed toward the amphitheater, where Apollo's cabin led a sing-along. We sang camp songs about the gods and ate s'mores and joked around. And the funny thing was, I didn't feel that anyone was staring at me anymore. I felt that I was home. Later in the evening, when the sparks from the campfire were curling into a starry sky, the conch horn blew again, and we all filed back into our cabin. I didn't realize how exhausted I was until I collapsed in the borrowed sleeping bag. My fingers curled around the Minotaur's horn. I thought about my mom, but I had good thoughts. Her smile, the bedtime stories she would read me when I was a kid, the way she would tell me not to let the bedbugs bite. When I closed my eyes, I fell asleep instantly. That was my first day at Camp Half-Blood. I wish I'd known how briefly I would get to enjoy my new home. Wow. Okay. And that is the very ominous end to Chapter 7. And Chapter 8 is the Capture the Flag scene from the movie. My favorite scene from the movie. Aside from the poker face scene, obviously, which is the best scene in all of cinema. Okay. Interesting. A lot of thoughts. Okay, let me think for a second. We spend a lot of time, obviously, because it's a book, right? We spend a lot of time in, like, fleshing out what Camp Half-Blood is. Apparently not too much, what it sounds, because, like, Percy's apparently going to be sent on a quest very soon, from what I remember from the movie, right? So that is quite cool. A lot of things I hear about, I'm learning about Ameth's character are really interesting. I like how she's, like, always wanting to go on quests, always wanting to leave. She's checking with every new person. She's wanting him to go to the Oracle because, like, whatever reason, like, finding out if he's a special one. Also, question, right? I think you guys can answer this, probably. Why can't the Oracle just tell the kids, like, what gods are their parents. I feel like that's within their powers, is it not? Is that ever explained? If it's explained, just let me know. But there was no Percy Jackson movie. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Peter Johnson and the Thunder Burglar. Does that strike your memory? Olympian's beverage number 5. Laurels are the rings of golden leaves. They would award the winners of the Olympics in ancient Greece. It was worn on the head. Ah, interesting. Because then it wouldn't be fun. Oracle tells the future. There we go. That's not explained. No, the Oracle has the power of prophecy. This is fun to re-experience the book with you. Honestly, I hope you continue read and finish the book with us. I definitely plan on it for sure. I definitely want to read the whole series. Right? That's a given. But I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Right now, I'm thinking that I might wait for the Disney Plus show to come out, watch all of that, then come back, read this book, and then read all other 20 Percy Jackson books. That's what I'm thinking, right? That Greek myths take place during a time period prior to ancient Greece, not during what's known as ancient Greece. Oh, okay, I think I get what you're saying. The gods claim their children. But they don't tell them, right? Like they're saying that some kids are waiting to find out and they'll never know. Like, or whatever. I mean, I guess that makes sense that the Oracle can only predict the future. So, but I guess, I mean, wouldn't that be like they can go to the Oracle and then find out if they are, in fact, like going to ever find out, and then they can just be told just then, or they're going to be told they can never find out? At the very least, right? I feel like there's some way. Also, they took a field trip to Olympus, right? If they ever do that again, like I feel like there's some way for all the kids to find out. I don't know. I feel like that's weird. That's a little bit strange. It's a little bit weird. But I'm gonna give the book the benefit of the doubt that it will simply answer my question. Well, the show first season is based on the first book. Unless you don't think so, I believe it'd be good just to read the first book before you experience the show in full. Imagine going to the Oracle. I think, because I think I want. Right now, I'm leaning more towards watching the show first, because I'm more of a movie guy than I'm a books guy, right? I watch the show first just to experience it, just to experience the adventure like that for the first time, right? Coming back, reading the book, and then I'm not gonna wait for seasons 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just gonna read all the books after that, because listen, I'm not waiting a bunch of years to find out the story of Percy Jackson. I waited too goddamn much for that. I'm only willing to wait until the end of the first season. That's how long I'm probably gonna wait. But honestly, I haven't fully decided yet, but that's where I'm leaning towards right now. Imagine going to the Oracle and being told you'll never know your parent. That'd be a major L. That'd be a major L. The Oracle can only tell you future in riddles. That's annoying. That's really annoying. It's some of the godly parents don't care, apparently. Prophecies is always convoluted and never fact-giving. The Oracle itself doesn't know everything. It just recites the prophecy to them. The gods' negligence ends up costing them. Interesting. Or alternatively, the Percy Jackson musical. It is good, though. Is it? That always just sounded really weird to me. I know that's a thing. I've heard about it before. I know the fandom apparently loves it. But that just sounds really weird. Also, I'm not a fan of Broadway, like musicals. To this day, I have never watched Hamilton. But that's more of because my friends want me to watch Hamilton, and I'm not watching Hamilton because it's annoying them that I don't watch Hamilton. Like, that's the only reason. Is it great? Well, Then, okay. Is it like... Where can I... It was an off-Broadway originally. Okay, yeah. Where would I watch this musical? It has a few good songs and follows the plot well. Where would I watch this musical? I'm curious now. Oracle also basically works for Apollo, so technically he wouldn't even have the jurisdiction to tell all the demigods their appearances. Interesting. The music is on YT. Is that Zora with Luffy in your background? Yeah, it is. I have a Zora poster and a Luffy poster right there. I have a bunch of other anime figures here as well. Like there's a little bit of a Sabo right there. Right finger. There it is. there should be a screen link. Is that what that says? It's covered by like a weird heart emoji thing. There should be some link. I'll look it up. Okay. Well, okay. Now, okay. Here is probably what's gonna be the plan, right? If you see a stream from me next Friday, that means I've chosen to continue the books, and I'm just gonna read all of them, no matter what. Okay, that's what that means. There's a stream next Friday. If there's not a stream next Friday, then that means that I'm waiting for the series. I'm gonna put reaction videos up to the series, and then after the series, I will continue the read streams until I am done. And I will also probably end up reacting to the Percy Jackson musical because you're telling me it's good. So I'm gonna trust you. I will trust you on that. Are you caught up to the OP manga? Yes, I am. I'm up to date with the manga. I read the official though, not the scans. So if you read the spoiler scans, don't tell me anything. But we do manga read streams every Sunday on the channel as well. So that's a thing. If you're into manga, if you're into anime, we do that. Yeah, I really like the camaraderie in like you get to see like the heart of. Let me like finish my chapter because I really didn't finish. But you get to finish you get to see a lot of the heart in the series. And there's like a lot the heart in the camp, and it's even making it feel like Percy's new home and stuff. And again, a lot of the characters not wanting to tell Percy anything. It's kind of annoying, but it's like they're just like moving on. Like you'll find out eventually, I guess. I guess it's probably fun for them, fucking with new campers. Because if I was them, I would do the same thing. I'm not gonna lie. But like, yeah, you'll find out later. So that's pretty cool. I'm excited to see the capture the flag bit. That's almost why I first made it. I kind of want to keep reading. I haven't fully decided yet. I might, but we shall see. But I like that. These last 3 chapters were really, really good. Especially because there was a bunch of stuff I really didn't get to see. It was more of expanding on the camp. Mr. D, somebody we didn't get to see a lot of in the movies. We only saw him in the second one. And Luke, who I found out was 19. Grover's 28. That's insane. That Grover's 28. That's still crazy to me. What in the world? I refuse to believe. I refuse to believe. Alternatively, you could do the musical first and then the show. I could. Yeah, but you get to experience Percy's frustration alongside him. It's immersive. Through the annoyance. No, true, but I feel like I would still get that in the 2nd through 5th books, right? Who knows? Again, who knows? I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it. But yeah, these last 3 chapters were freaking amazing. I really like these last 3 chapters, and maybe it's because I read them slower, so I can take it a bit more in. Because I was kind of like reading a lot faster for whatever reason. I kind of like my brain just skipped over stuff last time. But I really like these last 2 chapters quite a bit. So yeah, it was good. It was really good. I like the world. I like the world a lot and how it's like building up like integrated like old ancient Greek stuff with the modern day world. I think that's really cool. I do think that's really cool. It's sad when you realize that Grover will most likely outlive Percy because he ages slower. That's true. I wonder how they're gonna do that in the series, right? Like, is the kid, because the kid is not gonna like grow slower. So I wonder if they're gonna like tweak that just a little bit. I'd be interested to see if they did. Because like he's gonna have to age like a regular human, right? There's like so much Percy Jackson story to get to. So we'll see. The pacing in the PHM books is crazy, never a dull moment. I'm not a huge book reader, so I'll just take your word for it that the pacing is really good. The pacing has felt good to me so far. I honestly didn't expect them to spend so much time before the quest starting. Like, we're 100 chapters in right now. 100 pages, I mean. But it hasn't felt like too much. I've been like, okay, I'm learning about the world. I just wonder if we're gonna have enough time for like the actual meat of the quest. But I'm assuming, since so many of you love this book, that's not gonna be an issue, right? I mean, I mean, that's also a factor of why I don't give the gods as much shit as most people do. Being immortal, living through the hundreds of years of children dying has to be the worst. Yeah, I was thinking about that as well. Like, you probably get used to your children dying, to be quite honest. Being immortal gives you a huge new perspective on lives. The series takes place over 4 years, so aging in the series probably wouldn't be an issue. But like, I've heard, don't tell me too much about it because I don't want to know. But I've heard about other stuff like Heroes of Olympus and other Percy Jackson adjacent stories, right? And they just released a 6th book. Well, Percy's, I have it. I obviously haven't read it yet, but I've read the blurb where like Percy's trying to get into college or something. So I don't know too much about it. But like, so there's like more stuff that's presumably about to happen. I don't know if we're gonna get like a 7th Percy Jackson book, but that's apparently a thing that's happening right now. Is Rick Riordan's continuing the main line. The second and third series are 3 years altogether. Interesting. You think it wouldn't be an issue? Yeah. I mean, we'll have to see. They're definitely gonna end up changing stuff just because it's an adaptation. I don't expect it to be 1-to-1 because it's not gonna happen. But they're gonna do their best to make it like so it can be the. I hope if they do it right, they do the best that they can to make it like this is true to the spirit of Percy Jackson, and you see that, and you can still watch it and know like the book exists, but like you can see them trying to stay true. But like I think for some things like Grover's age and how that's gonna work, and they're probably gonna have to change that. You know what's good when a large part of the fandom loves Heroes of Olympus series more than the original series, when the original series is just that good, really. People like Heroes of Olympus more than the original. That's quite cool. That's very cool. I'm excited. I didn't know that there were other Percy Jacksons. I thought there were just the first 5 books. So when I get done, I end up reading the Heroes of Olympus as well. I'm quite excited for that one. I think Percy's currently 18. Yeah, he's trying to get into college. I think from the blurb, right? 7 are pretty much guaranteed based on the premise of 6. Have you guys read book 6 yet? For those of you who are caught up in the series, have you read book 6? Heroes of Olympus is actually multiple POV, Game of Thrones style. Oh, cool. 7 and 8, I mean. Wow. There's another book coming after Chalice of Gods, the book that I just can't. That book that just came out. Yeah. I love specific books in House of, I don't know what HO is. Heroes of Olympus. A whole lot, but overall, I love the entirety of PJO more. Interesting. I'm very curious. Did I show you? I don't know if you guys watched the last stream, or like saw it, but I don't know. But just in case you didn't, 1 second. Here's the wall. Okay. Ouch. I have a copy. I went into the bookstore and it just came out, so I bought it. Chalice of Gods. So it's here. I haven't touched it. I just read the blurb, and especially because it was a signed copy, so I have it's Mr. Riordan's signature in here. Yeah. So basically, what I'm saying is, if you don't have a signed copy of Chalice of Gods, I'm a better Percy Jackson fan than you. Ow. I just read the book. I'll be reading that soon. I'm staring at it for days. Okay, for those of you who have read the book, what do you think about it? Is it good? Is it better than some of the originals? How is it? I'm quite curious. Yeah, it's short. I noticed that. I did look through the page count. It is much shorter. Yeah, I prefer PJO over Heroes of Olympus. Interesting. Is it so? It's just Percy Jackson and Heroes of Olympus, or is House of Hades also in the universe? Are those be fighting words, good sir? Listen. It's just science, okay? I have a signed copy. You don't. I'm better than you. That's just basic math right there. It's just what it is. But for those of you who have read the 6th book, do you guys like it? I'm kind of vibing to my own theme right now. I'm not gonna lie. PJO is more nostalgic, but I would say Heroes of Olympus is more entertaining because of the variety of characters. House of Hades is part of the Heroes of Olympus series. Got you. House of Hades is book 4. You're right though. House of Hades is one of the Heroes of Olympus books, It's better than Sea of Monsters in my opinion. Also, you are wrong. You are not a better Percy Jackson. But listen. I'm not gonna argue with lesser Percy Jackson fans who don't have the signed copy. So there's nothing you can say to me. You think I have the signed copy. L-U. I like 6, not the greatest, but still good. All right. I'm happy Mr. Riordan has not lost his flair for the story of Percy Jackson. I'm happy it's getting actual more good entries in it. When Knights of Hades came out, there was a shift in the world for really. I'm really excited to dive into this world. Very, very excited. It seems really cool. One of the more interesting fantasy worlds that I've looked at for the longest time. So that seems pretty cool. Yeah. I watched the Percy Jackson interview with the cast, the one that just came out. A lot of the comments really happy about the cast, so I'm happy about that. Like us One Piece fans, we just got our live action adaptation. That was good, and it's from me on the outside looking in. It feels like what people must have noticed for the One Piece live action. Like you're finally getting like a good version of the series in live action, which is really cool for you guys. So I think that's pretty. I feel like what must have been seen for live action. I hope you guys get the same treatment that we got for One Piece because it's really good. Son of Neptune is the most hype reading experience I've ever had. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. Son of Neptune was my favorite book in the House of Heroes of Olympus. Okay. Son of Neptune. I know Neptune is the Roman name for Poseidon, right? That's what that is. Never read a book as fast as apparently Son of Neptune has a lot of hype. Okay, I'm gonna remember that. Son of Neptune. Okay. Hello. I'm a dork 736. Nice to have you, man. I'm afraid to tell you that we will be wrapping up the stream in a couple of minutes. Right now because we did finish up the chapters. But you guys are making me really excited to keep on reading Percy Jackson because it just seems so cool, man. OP live action is the best live action. That's yes. Honestly, it wasn't a high bar. It was not a high bar, but the One Piece live action was fantastic. If you guys haven't, it's my obligation to tell you as a One Piece fan. If you guys have not read the manga, watched the anime, or watch the live action on Netflix, do one of those 3 things, because One Piece is the greatest story ever told, and I will fight you on that, okay? One Piece is fantastic, and it's amazing, and you all need to experience it. Books 2 and 3. I'm excited to see him read Battle of the Labyrinth. That's probably like the second coolest title in all of them. Him reading book 3 is gonna be so. I'm expecting tears. Listen, you can't sit here and make me cry on stream. It's not okay. Am I gonna cry on stream? Listen. Apparently, I will not be crying on stream. Okay, I'm not gonna cry reading a book. It's never happened before. Probably because I haven't read that many books, but still. Unpopular opinion, but I actually really like The Lost Hero. Is that a part of the Heroes of Olympus series as well? You will cry. That's alright. Is that a threat or a promise? Okay. I have to cry? This is apparently a... Read OP just for Zoro. Facts. Zoro is the greatest. Not yet. Interesting. Okay. Alright. I'm apparently gonna cry. Listen, that's a high bar. If I cry reading a series, if I cry reading or watching, that means it's forever in my top favorites. That's what that means. It's an initiation of all PJL fans into the fandom, is it? Okay, if I cry reading Percy Jackson, that means it is one of my favorite series. That's just what it is. I only cry to series that I love a lot. So we will see. We shall see. If you don't cry, then you're broken. Damn, that's a high bar. You guys are hyping me up. I'm quite excited. I'm very, very, very excited. Lost Hero is the first Heroes of Olympus book. I have returned. Welcome back, Madsen. Took you a while. Got you. I hope you do continue. The PGL fans set that bat high, and there's always something you need to pay attention to, or later. truly masterful storybooks. Thanks Rick Riordan. Thanks Uncle Rick. Non-book readers enjoy. Bar high. Yeah, listen. No matter what, I'm gonna keep reading the books. It's just a matter of, will I read them now, or will I read them in January once the series is finished airing on Disney Plus? That's the only thing. I'm going to read them for sure. That's just a given. It's just a matter of, will I read them now or in January? Do you know there's a Greek god of beer, Dionysus, right? Yeah, I think we learned about that today. We learn new things every day. Definitely teared up reading The Last Olympian. Okay. All right, I'll take your word for it. But listen, I think you need to read the books because of the goated title chapter. The title chapters are fantastic. Listen, I more than anyone else, I judge names of things like episodes and chapters, and the title chapters are freaking hilarious. I love that for sure. No, but guys, I think we are going to have to end the stream here. It has been a super fun stream, especially with all you guys here for the first time. It was pretty cool having a lot of people here this first time. Made this reading experience a lot more fun, and I definitely cannot wait to continue reading the books, whether that is next week or in January after the series has come out, and you know, all that stuff. But I'm definitely gonna read the books here on stream and continue all of them. So yeah, thanks everybody for joining. You guys are freaking awesome, every single one of you. Made this reading experience a lot more fun. And yeah, I don't think I have too much to say. A God Buys Us Cheeseburgers is what convinced me to read it. That one I remember seeing that one. That one was pretty funny. All right, I don't have too much to say. Thanks everybody for joining. End of stream.